Hi, do you feel that money does not seem enough and doesn't seem to purchase enough things for you lately? Well, you're not out of order, because the truth is that your money has lost a major part of its purchasing power. And in this video, I want to help you make sense of this situation and then offer you advice on how you can navigate towards your preferred monetary future. I am Dr. Victor Igwe, and I am super delighted that you're here with me today. And if you want to support this channel, you can do so by liking this video, by subscribing, by hitting the button somewhere here, and by sharing it so that your friends can benefit as well. Now, let's get into the business. First of all, I need you to understand that every currency loses value over time, and it is often caused by what is called inflation. And guess what? The second definition of inflation by the Wikipedia is actually the reduction in the purchasing power of money or of a currency. You see, a lot of times when we discuss inflation, the emphasis is usually placed on the rising costs of goods and services. But then, is that all there is to inflation? The answer is no. You see, if you don't get a good understanding of what happens to your money during inflations, you are most likely going to make bad business decisions. So today, I want to show you practical ways that you can actually calculate the impact of inflation on your money, and this will help you navigate appropriately. Now, let us assume that your capital is $1,000. And let us also assume that this $1,000 can purchase 1,000 pairs of shoes for you at a cost of $1 per pair. And I also imagine that these shoes are for resale, probably, let's say, at a profit of 10 cents per pair. Which means that when you're done selling 1,000 pairs of shoes, you're going to make a profit of $100. Now, if you consider the inflation rate today, which, by the way, stands at different rates for different countries. For instance, it stands at 9.1% for the UK and 8.25% for the US, about 18.6% for Nigeria, and about 31.7% for Ghana. Now let us see the effect that this rate will have on business. For instance, a business person in Nigeria who usually will purchase 1,000 pairs of shoes using $1,000 capital. At this rate of 18.6% inflation, what this means is that this $1,000 can no longer purchase 1,000 pairs of shoes for him. Instead, with $1,000, you are now able to purchase just about 840 pairs of shoes. What this also means is that if this business person wishes to purchase 1,000 pairs of shoes at this inflation rate, they need $1,186 to be able to purchase the same quantity of shoes that $1,000 would have purchased for them. Now, this means that the cost of these shoes has changed from $1 per pair to $1.19 per pair. Now, what are the implications in terms of profitability? What this means is that at 10 pence profit per pair of shoes, this business person who has a capital of $1,000 now purchasing about 840 pairs of shoes can no longer make $100 profit like he used to. Now he can only make about a profit of $84. So assume that you have these shoes in stock before the inflation. The question is, what should you do? Now, you see, what the typical uninformed business person would do is that they would just continue to sell the stock they already have at the same rate of $1.1 per pair. And in the end, they are going to make a total of $1,100, which includes both their capital and their profit. And guess what happened? They go back to the market to restock the shoes that they have just sold, only to discover that both the profit they made plus their capital, which now stand at $1,100, can no longer even replace the 1,000 pairs of shoes that they just sold. Instead, they are looking at being able to buy just about 927 pairs of shoes. But then at this time, they have already lost purchasing power. But what must this business person do in this kind of scenarios that they have this stock and then the inflation rate shoots up? You see, realizing that the unit cost has changed from $1 per pair to $1.19 per pair means that your selling price has to reflect this. Of course, if you still want to make $100 profit, what this means that your selling price has to change to somewhere that reflects the new pricing. And at this time, you're now looking at a selling price of about $1.29 per pair. You can also look at the profitability in terms of percentage of profit made. By this, what we mean is that initially you were earning $100 from $1,000 capital, which means 10% of your capital. So your question should be, what is the 10% of the new capital, which now stands at $1,186? So you see that you're looking at making $118 after selling your product. So this has to be reflected in your new selling price. And if you work that out, you see that you should be selling at $1.3 per pair. And this means that your price has to change. Now, this is actually the only way that you can restock your product after selling it and still make a good profit. You see, personally, I prefer the percentage profit method because it allows me to make my capital back, to be able to restock what I just sold, and at the same time it allows me to make the equivalent of profit that will solve what $100 would have solved for me before the inflation. And before we wrap this up, as you can see it's beginning to rain, let's look at the concept of saving money in the bank in order to grow the money. You see, presently the average interest rate that banks pay on savings account is 4%. Now, what this means is that if you saved $1,000 prior to the inflation, after 1 year, the money rises and becomes $1,040. But you see, when you saved that money, it could purchase 1,000 pairs of shoes for you. But now that you have taken the money back after the interest is paid for you, you can't purchase 1,000 pairs of shoes with the money that you have plus the interest that you've earned. So you see that $1,040 can actually just give you about 876 pairs of shoes. The thing is that while you were earning interest at the rate of 4%, you were actually losing value to inflation at the rate of 18.6%. Now, does this mean that we shouldn't save money in the bank? Absolutely not. As at today, the bank is still the safest place to warehouse your money. But you must understand that just saving the money in the bank doesn't mean that you're growing the money, rather you're losing value. So if you want to warehouse your monies in a bank for a future project, what I would advise is that you could consider other higher yield investment options such as stocks, such as bonds, such as certificate of deposit. These ones will give you higher returns on the money. And of course, in the subsequent videos, I will be looking for the opportunity to elaborate on these so that you can understand the pros and cons of each of these options so you can make better decisions. But then, by all means, evaluate the inflation rates and how it affects your money before you make your business decisions. All right. And I also want to interject here to let you know that because of the high rate of inflation around, one stream of income is no longer enough. You might want to consider other side hustles and other streams of income around you to support your current earnings so that you can cater to your needs despite the inflation. Thank you so much for watching. If you find this video interesting and useful, please subscribe and share it so that other people can benefit from it as well. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.
Sheep and man, money lead the sheep and man.